Hi, this is Superastral Coronation fulfilled. I have many pictures which are starting to become a reality that I could show you, like this one, or this one, or this one, and so on and so on. But this time I have something much more important to show you, which is one of the final pieces of this ultimate revelation. This is a very complex video that I could extend indefinitely, but I'll try to make it super fast this time, because it's a huge demonstration of supernatural projections fulfilled. Let's begin. Alright, do you remember that before the Queen died, she duplicated the picture of my movie like a mirror? Well, the same thing happened with another picture I even projected in that same video, and the coronation of the new king. In a very strange moment of the coronation, many people noticed that the Reaper crosses, which, as usual, mirrors the picture I projected for 2023, where I depicted a coronation alongside the subdued angel of death. You can clearly see the hooded dark figure holding some kind of a sickle. It can be clearly seen without a doubt that the picture is the same. Once again, another ruler of the earth fulfills my picture to the letter. Of course, it wasn't literally the dark angel, but it doesn't matter. The event still happened in reality, in synchronization with my picture. Anyway, I don't think those servants of the crown of the Great Reset must be saints. They are surely servants of the Dark Angel behind the scenes. Well, they are serving the Great Reset King. Furthermore, the coronation happened exactly after the UN announced the end of the Corona Theater, as I showed it would happen in episode 2. And during the coronation, one of the royal heirs was dressed just like the picture that was fulfilled on the day of the monument events. Look at those pictures. It reminds me of me and my daughter. Can you just hold still for a second? Just a little piece for a minute? No, you have to move all the time. By the way, that day was the mass manifestation against the Corona Theater, and the painting shows the world as a theater. And that painting, at the end, that was fulfilled on the Corona demonstration, shows a chess movement that is called Coronation. That is when a previously deceased piece gets resurrected. And that monument, although most people don't know, it is also a chessboard with all the pieces except the invisible king that now you can see. Furthermore, in the heavenly coronation picture, I used a clock at the end times, and the newly crowned early king just inaugurated a clock of the climate apocalypse. And at the moment of the secret coronation, they used the same pictures of the angels with trumpets and the tree of God in flames. Oh, I'm sure this is all just a coincidence. This is like find the difference, but in reverse. Find the coincidences. As if that wasn't enough, at the end of the coronation, they display a giant picture of an awakening owl. This led us to one of the most important revelations that I am going to show you. It's true that they show a lot of little animals before, but the owl is the one they use to crown the spectacle conclusion, and it's the only one with the animated giant face looking at us. This coronation owl was shown at the same time as the incendiary revolutions were happening now. Now, what does the owl have to do with the burning tree of Eden and with the fires and the pictures becoming real? Better, the giant owl, especially at the same time as the fire, is a public representation of the infamous Bohemian Grove ceremony, where they offer fire sacrifices to a statue of a giant owl. It is well known that people from the political and economical elite have to enter secret societies like that. It even appeared in a Netflix series, but of course in a joking and insignificant tone. Well, what I'm going to reveal to you today will make you realize that it is not a joke. It is full of videos theorizing what is the meaning of the fire sacrifice to the giant owl, but in the original leak, the author say it is inspired in bust painting. And definitely it is easy to notice it is the same as the apocalyptic hell from the Garden of the Lights. What does the owl have to do with the apocalypse? It is simply a biblical picture of the final judgment, describing it as a desolate kingdom consumed by destructive fire, inhabited by owls, a spirit of darkness. So Bosch recreated that picture, and in the secret society they invoked it as an initiation for people with political and economic power, etc., etc. OMG. This is important because what these sick billionaires are literally doing is summoning paintings from hell, and voila! Now the world is exactly the same. The world has become Bosch judgment. It's understandable that many people think it's a coincidence until I show you the following. First, remember that I have been showing you for years now. As a spiritual principle, the pictures I project become real in the physical world. Well, what they didn't show you on Netflix, but is clearly seen in the photos of death and darkness rituals, such as a funeral with a crown and a black priest emulating the rituals of Egyptian widow, are precisely paintings of rulers and devils. Yes, yes, initiations of rulers in paintings of demons, but one is higher than the others, which is the one of a devil with a paintbrush. In other words, a devil painter. Oh yeah, interestingly, when we search for the painter's name, it's clear that he was a painter from that era who lived in the same city as the Owl Club, and since he belonged to it, he had a privileged position in the world of painting. Although it's clear that he wasn't very talented, here it is evident how worldwide success, especially in politics, is arranged in secret societies, and why other people with more talent and better intentions are never supported by their own governments and often faced opposition, even from the very people that follow those governments. Isn't it curious that this demonic painter liked to depict people on fishes, just like in the Bosch painting? Couldn't it be any more clear? As I have shown in other compilations like Vision 2020, the Dollar and Numerous Corporation also use the owl, and in other occult clubs, people are also initiated into painting and advance within paintings inside more paintings in more dead rituals, and they rise to crown the greasing paintings while recreating them in the physical world. You can clearly see in the pictures of the occultist initiation, they also copy the elements from Bosch Apocalypse. The key, the stairs, the eclipse, and the giant eye. So the meaning of where they are entering they initiate and its soul is hidden in plain sight. But many don't want to take off the bandage from their eyes until it is too late. It is even known that they project this painting to build cities, trapping their inhabitants in the process. For example, the US government based the city's plan on an owl over a coffin with an inverted Antichrist cross. In other words, all the souls of that city were involuntarily entered into a picture that copies the body sacrificed to the owl, which is taken directly from Bosch's hell. Do you see now why the world is the way it is? Do you understand why all governments are hell and why its citizens become more and more like demons? And in the painting, it's clear that the dark angel's egg is the giant eye that worship in the synagogue of Satan, which also corresponds to the ancient meaning that eye controls them like chess pieces. Just to be clear, the real owl isn't the devil, it's simply just a creature of God. The problem lies in the symbol of the cult, which is actually the spirit of darkness, the spirit of evil. Now I wonder, this monument is quite similar to the owl statue, and at the top there is a black star while a queen is enthroned above a crypt of a deceased patriarch. Quite strange. Or as I mentioned before, is the resurrected king, in fact. Very well, the painting is actually very simple. It begins with the egg of darkness appearing with the owl in Eden, continues with the egg adopted by humanity, and their released owl spreading chaos and unleashed vices, and ends with the giant egg hatch and the owl reigning and enthroned in an orgy of vices, devouring humans while everything is in flames, suffering, and darkness. Just like the current reality where the elites eat human figures and everything is chaos and destruction. In the symbol of the Owl Club, it is clearly that the owl represents the spirit of the moon, the night, or darkness, and we see that they echo the Egyptian death rituals where the owl was a goddess of the death and sadness, like a widow, and the logo says that the spiders, weavers are not accepted. Well, going back to Egypt, the sun was the father god who weaved the net of life, who is in this ritual is mummified and acts as a communicator between the living and the spirit world. So we see clearly the theme of the elimination of the paternal life. Another researcher channel marks the hidden sun and the moon in infrared. But actually, just by looking at the owl, we can clearly see the sun, the moon, and the eclipse being used for dark works. Precisely, Christ was born receiving the energy of a comet, that was the star of Bethlehem, and was sacrificed not coincidentally in an eclipse. In other words, the cult of sacrifices in eclipses is the cult of the victory of darkness over light. And we can clearly see the egg-shaped air dome starting full and then cracking until it breaks and gives birth in the middle of the apocalypse. In the apocalypse painting, you can clearly see the moon opening like an egg, simulating the shape of an eclipse when the sun is reborn. A birth is also known as a coronation, as a crowning, like the solar crown. A coronation. The apocalypse is precisely when the Creator is reincarnated and reveals itself. Fun fact, the original word for Yeshua, the kingman, is spelled the same as man, but with a crown, with a corona. Do you understand the obsession with the eternal eclipse and why they chose the coronavirus for the final fraud? What many don't understand about the biblical comparison of Yeshua, the man king, to the sun is not that it was a metaphor for the sun, but that his spirit was literally like a fragment of the solar lamp within the early dome, which is why he could project invisible light and repaint the world, like I keep showing you examples of. The original crown, the painter, the world director, re-enters the picture. The reference of the owl, the egg, the eye are all shapes related to the birth canal, when the birth crowning happened, and they're all shapes related to the skull crown, where the spiritual projection is born, which is the essence and maximum power of all this that I am showing. The synagogue of Satan, of course, use it for evil. We use it against the evil ones. But beyond the details of the symbolism, it is simply obvious that the rituals invoke the hell of Boch, where leaders are crowned using painter devils. How cute, huh? Which again would not be of great importance if it were not because I show you over and over again that there are images that become real because they show you the invisible energies. Are you getting the point yet? In fact, one doesn't need to go too far to see the clear emphasis in the elimination of the father from the family. If you keep investigating the published pictures of the club, you'll see works of feminized men directed by FBI agents and places where the husband dies and the wife goes off with someone else. Oh, and one of the rulers who went through there was the first to approve easily divorce laws during the feminist era, which triggered an epidemic of broken families where women don't have to prove anything to separate the family. Unfortunately, although many may not like, the majority of liars in the world admit that women are the first ones to abuse that, and of course, get the father's paychecks. That same president later admitted that that law was his greatest regret. But well, he was also discovered in prostitution trafficking at the Club of the Owl. It is not usual that politicians enforce laws of the wrongly called women liberation while themselves use and abuse women in traffic. That same president said that the governments are highly infiltrated and ruled by the biblical synagogue of Satan. Fast forward to present day, and we have the governments of the world censoring everyone who even dared to criticize the biblical synagogue of Satan. Just with a quick search, we can see a rabbi from the Synagogue of Satan admits that Kabbalah is the cult of the receptive energy that reaches its climax during an eclipse. And he says that at the moment the roles are reversed and that force is greater than the sun, which he considered just a trick. To him, the sun, the source of light, it's a trick, while the mirror is the most powerful. Who can believe such a bunch of and their mission, he says, is to unite the two. Apparently, he doesn't understand why it only lasts a few moments. Who can hear such nonsense and think it's wisdom? Only a deceived people. Do you understand why the mask, the bubbles, etc. is all part of a satanic sacrifice ritual? Exactly like in the Hell of Bosch. And you saw how most people follow and continue to follow the lie instead of the truth. So, what are the majority of people and the rulers? Oh, yes, yes. Do you have family members or acquaintances who continue to look at the devil's painting? Those people are literally puppets of the dark angel, and they are the ones who need to submit to the truth, not the other way around. Pity those who continue to ignore those who are telling the truth. I recommend they look at the last panel of the painting because that is where their souls already are. Do you understand why the central pillar of the owl is a needle and the creator of the latest evil fraud were all from the biblical synagogue of Satan? We've never signed an international treaty to abstain from using biological weapons. In fact, the owl sacrifice is a reenactment of the synagogue of Satan's sacrifice. That's simple. Fast forward to present day, and we have all the rulers of the earth exposed in child trafficking, and we have governments around the world teaching gender ideology in schools and hidden cameras of teachers encouraging children to use sex toys and hiding it from their parents. Ah! By the way, recently employees sued the Club of the Owl for enslaving and undeclared work. Oh yeah, in case you didn't know, the Owl Goat Club is in San Francisco, one of the worst cities in the United States, where the streets have become dumps for abandoned and drug-addicted people. Oh, what a coincidence. In the complete sequence of the Club of the Owl, you can see the deceased initiate being taken and cremated ended with a coronation. And this is precisely the same sequence as the painting that became real on the day of the monument. So to build here, I show you pictures that become real, revealing an invisible world that shapes the physical world, proving that the spiritual plane is real. At the same time, you can see right on the internet that rulers insert themselves into paintings painted by the devil to be reborn as kings of the hell of Bosch. And in the coronation, they copy the painting that was fulfilled at the monument and fulfill my picture of the coronation of the new Genesis, ending with a giant owl while the world burns like the judgment day with only two choices of total destruction, of total dictatorship, or total anarchy. Do you understand the picture that is being formed? Great, from now on remember this every time you see the assemblies of government around the world whose members had to go through those sects. They are rulers, but within that painting. They have crowns in hell. So you know who pulls their strings and who follows them. Remember, the next time you watch Netflix, Disney, etc., etc., the Vatican and its owl popes, NASA that falsifies space while making the horns and the owl, etc., etc. Yes, yes, we surely went to the moon. Any moment now. We'll reach Mars. To me, it seems like we're already on Mars. Mars, a red planet, hell on Earth. Do you understand what the kings of hell want to do? Still don't get it? Go keep watching Netflix. Did I say Netflix? I meant Hellflix. They are all creations by channelers of hell. Literally. Do you understand now why the Beatles depict the Satanists Crowley with horns and made the song Strawberry Fields Forever? That is also a reference to the Strawberry Fields of the Hell by Bosch. Oh, you didn't know? Well, now you know. Now, if all those are paintings of hell, what are their followers if not puppets of puppets of puppets of hell? Do you see now why it's full of movies with programming, astral alignments of eclipses, with endless sacrifices of men and especially patricide? Do you understand why every time a soul destined to bring light is born, earthly powers want to extinguish it at all cost? And like Tesla, they even steal his technology to use it against people. Do you understand now why there is people that knows the secret to make giant vegetables that solve world hunger and they are threatened with death by their own governments? Do you understand why they stay a show of owl drones with a burning tree and now Hawaii is set on fire a second later after lasers were seen over the place? Remember those lasers? Well, there's the result. You just have to search it and YouTube will show you it this side by side. At that time, the military said, not to worry, those lasers are just for measuring the coast. Or more ridiculous, that they were from China, and people may actually believe it. Do you understand the picture they are trying to paint in the war now? I told you guys it was coming in 2023. Not the year before, not the other one, this one. Oh, and the Iceland on fire has a circle of fire, a crown. Fun fact, directed energy weapons are called dew. And in the invocation of the Antichrist, it says there is dew in all the fires. Oh, a coincidence. One of the millionaire celebrities who want to take over the Iceland makes the sign of the owl of hell. Well, you know where her soul is, so the fastest she leaves this world, the better for all. I don't see her willing to repent before it's too late. Seems like she enjoys the painting of hell so much that she wants to make it a reality. Unfortunately, I don't think she realized that where she'll end up. Well, remember that in the Great Reset you were going to own nothing and be happy? There you have it. The survivors of the Hawaii fire say they own nothing anymore. Are they happy? Of course not. They are just happy they didn't die, but that is like the consolation prize. Now they are completely dependent on the government that owns those lasers. To own nothing is the same as being a slave. It's hell in life. You can actually see the Great Reset and its motto, you will own nothing, as a manifestation in the real world of the actually post-apocalypse. That painting says it all. At the beginning, man owns the entire world, has absolute authority. But in that panel that they want to paint on the world, man doesn't own anything, not even its own body and soul. Crystal clear. How can we stop hell on earth when the puppets of darkness can project a fire in seconds? Well, I guess we're gonna have to start projecting too. Thank God that I keep showing you examples that work. Fun fact, Bosch not only means owl, but is also translated as forest, which in his painting is on fire. And oh coincidence, all the fires in the world are on fire lately. In fact, this thing happened in the Iceland, in front of my city, making it all an unbreathable hell. And you know how forest fires are called? Crownings. So, Bosch equals owl equals forest. And in Bosch painting, there is an owl in the forest. And forest fires equal crowning. And during the crowning, when everything is burning, they put a giant owl, etc., etc. You get it? You get it? As I already shown you in the United States Army, which zombies still have faith in, one of the generals in charge of psychological operations was one of the modern founders of the Church of Satan. Many special military insignias pay homage to the eclipse, the owl, the giant eye, aliens, planetary wizards, and the dragon, literally. So the world's armies and their soldiers are puppets of the spirit of darkness, literally. Another fun fact, owls are normally reported in activities of UFO sightings, and the usual faces of the astral beings are equal to owls, without further. Even so, when the witness of this event describe the eyes of these beings, they make the same gestures as the Illuminati. Coincidentally, in the last episode, we projected that it was going to happen, the disclosure of the UFOs, and voila, it became real very fast, just after we projected it. But that is for another time. I am sure there is a possibility that this is all just a big coincidence, that's all. By the way, I say that the fake alien war was coming, and now we have people defending themselves from supposed aliens with guns asking for the army's defense. The army? Yeah, that army. Oh, and look, just as I am making this video, NASA from his fake space station censors a video where it appears a flying owl vampire. Oh, it looks exactly like what I projected before. Another coincidence. It doesn't matter if this is completely real, but the important thing is that the picture had to become fulfilled and mirror in reality. So there you have the space vampire to which the Synagogue of Satan makes sacrifices for. Now you understand why the Vatican has a telescope named Lucifer. It's a picture straight out of the post-apocalypse. In reality, it's just a bat, but they disguise it as an owl because it would be too obvious. I am not pleased at all showing you that literally it is the fulfillment of the apocalypse painting. Governments loves to use the church to repeat that it is because the apocalypse, then you have nothing to worry about because it's all God's will and Jesus is just around the corner. So people just don't resist while they continue to torture and sacrifice. And if fake priests continue to repeat that, it is a disgrace that deserves to be trapped in that painting forever. And this is a lesson for all those who live in evil without repenting of the evil they do. In that painting is where their soul dwells, and that is where they will find themselves when they leave the physical world. And no, there won't be any deletion. You will be there forever. So it's something to think about, because one thing is to be ignorant. After seeing this, it's quite clear. Perfect. Before finishing, I'll show you one more revelation that we'll expand on later. I already showed you that in 2020, the year of the crown, the year of the corona, the crown, the new king launched the Great Reset at the same moment and using the same phrase that I had anticipated 2 years earlier, where another investigator of these topics noticed that the crown of the Great Reset has lines that form 666, and he also noticed that it was crowned during an astrological time alignment of Leo in the sign of the king, which aligns with his natal Pluto. And I have already shown you that Pluto is the king of the underworld. By the way, the 66 crowns is very similar to the crowns of the jesters from the other sex club, known for its infamous connections to prostitution trafficking. In the coronation, when he's behind the fire tree, is when he gets the anointing, which is coincidentally made with a pencil, like in a painting. Those in the synagogue of Satan, of course, receive a dark anointing. I work, of course, with the other one, the original painter. With all this, we can clearly see the crown that is truly behind the ruling elites of the earth, and consequently, their followers. A crown which, sadly, many are born within and can't really escape. Well, now it's the chance. Let's hope that poor prince born in the heart of darkness will be able to free himself from the curse of his family and save its people instead of being a puppet of the synagogue of Satan. Let's hope his parents loved him enough to not inherit him the darkness. I know that many that belongs to this dark painting think that this is a knowledge that it shouldn't be known. But the truth is that it is beyond them and it is predestined to happen. Because if there is something that the crowns of darkness have, it is the original veil, which is a huge, huge pride. And what it is, the use of controlling so many kings of the earth, if you can't show off. So now, the biggest achievement becomes the biggest weakness, the greatest weakness. And with this revelation, this taking off the mask, the powers of the dark crown fall. And all that are getting power from there are gonna lose it. Now, fast. And those of the synagogue of Satan have only salvation if they Christianize themselves. Not more vampirism nor supremacism. It's over. And now, many who were in position of power will realize that they are literally bringing hell on earth. Suddenly, they'll say, oh, I am surrounded by the real apocalypse. And they wake up all of a sudden. And they realize that there is no political, economic, or technological solution. And they're going to realize that the only way to not to kill each other, to eat each other, is going to be to insert super Christians in any sphere of power as mediators, but the real super sacrificed ones, not, the fake ones that preach and then they put fences around the church, not that ones, but the ones that are willing to sacrifice themselves and to actually bring the kingdom of God to the earth. You're gonna have to track down the really, really good ones, and promote them, because if not, then you're just gonna hate each other. How many belongings to those dark clubs trust the latest fraud and now they are suffering it? Especially because the angel of darkness is going to stop protecting. Now, a message to all you that are puppets of the spirit of darkness and whose souls are operating in Bosch hell. What's gonna happen when gets revealed a soul that controls the puppet of darkness? By extension, it's gonna control all of you, like puppets. Now, to be perfectly clear, it's not that with the picture of the coronation and the tree I was predicting the royal events, but as I project and they copy, they reveal I am aligned with a superior ground from the visible plane. And for that, I am going to preview some pictures of something even bigger. Not only did they copy the pictures of the tree and the reaper from me, but the final picture of the coronation also copies the earth dome that I projected with the crown over it. And on top of it, they put the name of the song, Don't You Forget About Me. Why is that significant? Because the song became famous due to the movie The Breakfast Club, which takes place on 24/3/1994 at 7 a.m. That exact date and time is exactly the moment of my birth. And when someone is born, it is called a crowning. And although it may be hard to believe, this is not just a coincidence, this is not the first time. Let's see. For example, it also happened in Saint Gotthard. In the picture of the coronation, I used pictures of the manifestation at the end of the largest tunnel's opening, and the day before of the coronation, when the Corona Theater emergency ended, that same day also was a huge manifestation in a train tunnel, copying the pictures I used. Oh, and they also put back the mask, just like I said. So they ended the Corona Theater, like I say, and then they put the mask at the same time, like I said. Only makes sense if they are just following that script. Okay, I'm tired. Let's end it. And that world opening is clearly about a birth and a coronation, both crownings, in which they also make a clear copy of a scene from the same movie that occurs at the moment of my birth. It even copies a picture from a play that my father did before I was born. By the way, in the picture of the coronation, I not only use the picture of the train coming, but also of UFOs. And soon after, at the same time, coronation, all this come together, we have UFOs forming a train track with train sounds. There you go. Even the UFOs copy me.
It almost sounded like if you were next to like the train tracks when they're going over it, bumping.
Another example is the known animation that foresaw the fall of Notre Dame, which begins by copying the same movie which occurs at the moment of my birth. And that same animation, among other things, not only copies many pictures from my series, but ends with a picture of the returns of the Christ. That is the same as my painting of the return of the Christ, which happens to be in a scene from my series from 2010. In other words, 3 coronations that copy from me and make reference to 24/3/84. Why? Well, that's just a sample, and it will be analyzed in detail in another video, but to help you understand in a simplified way, basically imagine that above all these early kings, there is a spiritual crown, but of evil. Well, imagine that I and what I do are aligned with the other crown, the one that is above everything, a crown of crowns that can control all crowns, commonly called, God. And basically, with each superastral projection, which means above the astral, I am clearly revealing its power beyond time and space, and the importance of being able to do omnipotent things while focusing so much on a single individual. This is to make it clear that it is a universal and personal at the same time, and not only a natural general phenomenon without sense or logic, especially that it focuses on an individual without economic or political power, so far, such as me, and aligned with truthers but opposed to the elite, etc., etc. This is to make it clear that what I show you is not false, and which side he is on. The fact that they copy me is clear indication that I am aligned with the original source, and they can only imitate, not create. Like the moon, which is a mirror for the living light. Now, why all this phenomenon is possible? Well, for now, in a simplified way, following the metaphor of the world as a living motion picture, imagine that the Earth is like the movie screen, and the astral lights is the projector, as if the constellation and the planets are the lenses and the movie roll. But beyond that is the lamp and the operator, that would be the creator, that allows you to watch what it is going to happen. That is why you can see that I have so many predictions fulfilled. So every one of my videos that I've been showing you since actually the beginning of the channel are a revelation directly from and to this source. That is the reason for so many supernatural fulfillments. So my appearance in the world stage is marked by an event that is an equivalent of the operator with the lamp and with the projector entering inside the world movie. And with every video I show you that. So now imagine that for a special reason I have developed a direct connection with that source, with that lamp, with that creator, and that is why I can project pictures all over the world that are beyond just normal predictions and are beyond the rulers of the earth. So more people see it, more people wake up, and we can accelerate coming out of this painting from hell and go back to paint Eden, right? For once and for all. I actually was going to make a movie about it with story and visual effects and everything that is what I like the most. But for brevity, for now, I give it to you this way. Any team willing to help me with the movie to eliminate hell from Earth? You know, my pictures keep getting the tendency of becoming real, so I think it's kind of important. Any angel investors out there? No? Will they keep funding the competition like they did with Tesla, like Guardians of the Galaxy that copied my movie? Basically, when people super astral project in synchronization, it's like basically like their brainwaves hack the Schumann resonance of the Earth and can repaint the world picture. My picture is copied even by a multimillionaire movie, and most people, even my closest people, continue without paying me too much attention. What do you think? I should sue Marvel? I know that these kinds of demonstrations give the Westworld syndrome to the sleeping people. Like the scene where they show the robot that doesn't know it's a robot a photo of the real world and the robot responds programmed to ignore it as if it hadn't seen anything strange. But now you can either be Westworld or see reality. Excellent. To conclude, first, a notice to all those who inhabit that painting that now know is real. Get out of there before it's too late, or you will find yourself there forever, without escape. Now, the end. This revelation is like finally unmasking the dark powers of the world and revealing that and showing that literally they are puppets of darkness. So, instead, point to the other painting. And finally, we are going to make a super astral projection to eliminate the spirit of darkness and its works, to kick off this new Genesis. Well, now, with this, literally, we have reached the core of what's behind all those cultist pictures. It's really clear, so now it's like when in Star Wars Luke reached the core of the Death Star. Now there's really no more to decode or analyze. It's just we have to erase that picture from reality. So now, with this, we bring the end of the owl. Bye-bye. The end of the synagogue of Satan. Be gone. So now we are going to end with one of the most important projections to give life to this new super astral genesis. Let's feel that painting of hell on earth with light from heaven. Let's end this. Let's put all actors from hell where they belong, and the ones persisting in the darkness be destroyed or transformed, now and forever. And let's paint with light. Spirit of darkness, by the power of God, the Creator Father, I cast you out!